Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Pawan. In today's video, we're going to talk about UiPath Context Grounding, which is the component of UiPath AI Trust Layer. So before we talk more about context grounding and AI Trust Layer, let's try to understand. We must have already, or you must have already worked on large language models, right? Uh, Maybe the most famous one is ChatGPT. Uh, like we mostly pass our data or our text, and then we try to rephrase the information and maybe beautify our text and see use it in our organization, or maybe we also use it to debug some information or to get any general information from the large language model. But we know that there is a limitation in the LLM, and the limitation is that when you really need any data which is more specific to your organization, our LLM is not basically trained on those information. LLM is mostly trained on very generic data, and when you need any company specific information, you have to really go and you have to retrain your LLM, which is not considered as very easy task, because LLMs are trained on billion and billion of parameters, and when you want to go ahead with the retraining, it really becomes a very complex architecture for any of the developer. And the time you spend in retraining the LLM, the return on investment is going to be really very low, and that is not considered as a very great approach towards any of the use cases. And in this situation, we as a developer, we go with one of the very alternate approach, where we can get the data from the LLM, or we can get the answers from the LLM on our own data. But we have to go with some alternate technique. And this alternate technique is nothing but it is known as RAG architecture, or RAG technique that we call. RAG is something which is also known as, or a full form of RAG is retrieval or augmented generation. And how it basically work is, it is the combination of multiple different techniques, and it starts with embedding. You will be first putting your data into your database, or you will be putting it in any specific location, and after that, using the embedding technique is just going to take your data, and after that it is going to do the conversion. It is going to make it into the numerical form so that it can be easy to be saved into the database, and then it gets saved into the vector database, and from the vector database, after that, the search happens. Or there are multiple different kind of search as well. We have semantic search, we have vector search. So these search or these technique basically works in the backend, and after that, your LLM will get some specific information about the query that you're passing, and then accordingly it is going to give the data. But even if you will see that there is some complexity which is also involved in terms of implementing the RAG architecture. Though comparatively, when we want to retrain the LLM, the complexity is very low in RAG, but still there is a complexity, or there is a development task when you want to implement the RAG architecture in your use case. So that's where UiPath has come in, and UiPath has come up with one new product which is known as UiPath Context Grounding. And it is also, it has been coded in the backend using the RAG architecture. And what is the best part over here is that you don't have to really pay any additional subscription for embedding, or you don't have to really pay any additional subscription for the vector database, and you can directly use these services as a part of your activity in the UiPath, and you can work on any of the use cases. So in today's video, we are just going to cover one of the use case where the context grounding is going to help us. This is going to be a very basic one, because we want to start with very basic, and then we'll be going to the advanced topic of AI trust layer and the context grounding in our upcoming video. So maybe I would just like to share my screen, and I'd like to show you that how we'll be implementing our first use case on AI trust layer context grounding. All right. So if you'll see over here that I have created one chatbot, and this has been created on UI app. And if you'll see over here that I have created this whole chatbot using the integration services and the Gen AI activity, which is available there in the integration services. And in that, we are using context grounding, okay, as the activity over here. So maybe I would just like to ask one query from this chatbot. So if you'll see over here that it is able to give me the answer of whatever the query that I'm asking. Okay. Now, over here in today's use case, we have just implemented context grounding, but we have not really trained, or we have not implemented any advanced technique over here. That means that we are not really training it with our own company specific information, and this is more like a generic one that I have built using the UiPath context grounding. But in our upcoming video, we will be learning more about that, what is index or ingest, how you can really utilize your own data to get the answers available over here. But it is going to give you very brief information about what exactly context grounding is, how it works, and maybe in our upcoming video it will be very easy for us to understand or to implement more features into this specific use case. All right. So maybe we'll just quickly show you that where we could see context grounding activity. So if you'll go to the orchestrator and if you'll go to the integration services, in the integration services, if you'll go to the shared, or you can go to any specific folder, and if you write Gen AI activity, under the Gen AI activity, you need to go to the activities, and you'll be able to see that all the activities which comes under the Gen AI activity. And over here, you'll see that we have content generation, we have semantic similarity, and we have many more different options or activities which are available over here. We also have index and ingest, which we'll be learning more in our upcoming videos. So we have used this particular service in our current use case, and we have tried to build a chatbot. So maybe we'll start from the scratch and we'll see that how we can build a chatbot using the UiPath context grounding. So let us go to the app. So I've already built a chatbot for us to test, but we'll try to create a new one. So I'll name it as UiPath chatbot new, and I'll click on create. I will select blank page over here, and let's try to use the container. Maybe I'll use the container. Okay, so before that, we'll give header. So this is something which is very optional for you. You can either give or based on your use case, you can just design your UI app. So I'll give over here as context grounding demo with the help of UiPath app. Okay. Now what next? What we are going to do is we'll try to use the container service over here, and we'll give some space for our query. So we are just going to insert our query over here. So for that, I have created a container, and let us drag and drop text area. So this is the place where we'll be asking the query from the user. Ask your query. Okay, let me just make this one as well. Okay, let's do like this. We'll increase the size. I'll make it in full screen so that we have enough space for asking the query. And height I would like to give as 200. Okay, make it as pixel over here. Let me keep it as 150 because I could see over here that 200 is too much. Yep. Okay, so now we have our ask your query, and then this is the text box where we'll be putting our query or our prompt. Let us try to create one variable, generated response. So we're just going to save our response from the context grounding over here in this variable. So we have just created one variable over here. All right, and then what we're going to do is maybe we will try to add the generated response. Okay, not here. So this is a place where we're going to ask the query. So I just remove. So we'll be putting the generated response in our submit button, so that we're going to create later. All right, let's create one more container. So we'll just create this container for getting the response from our context grounding. We'll add one more text over here. Yeah, so this is our text area. We'll try to do the same thing. Let us keep the size in percentage as 100, and let us keep the height in pixel and we'll keep as 200. Okay, we'll try to change the name over here from label. We'll say generated response. Okay, if you want to do some styling or something, you can surely do it from here. If you want to increase the font, you can do it. Same thing you can do over here as well. Okay, this is looking better now. All right, and here what we can do is we can keep our default text as generated response. So whatever the response is generated, it will be kept over here. All right, we need to keep one more thing, or let's keep it below. So we have the space over here. So we'll try to keep submit button. So let me drag and drop button over here, and we'll write, okay, write submit query, or we'll just give the name as submit over here. All right, so once you submit, your query will get processed, and then it will get it is going to generate the response for you. Right now what we need to do is we need to create a rule in the submit button. So before that, we'll come to the main page, and we're going to call the integration services. This is going to be the most important part over here in this video. So we'll go to the connection, and we'll go to next. We'll go to we're going to search GenAI activity. We'll be picking up the connection. All right. So the connection has been established over here. Now what we're going to do is we'll go to the submit button. We're going to create a rule over here. The rule would be, we'll call content generation. So in content generation, we'll be providing the model. All right. So maybe we'll just try to put the model name over here. There are multiple options when we talk about the model in the context grounding, but as of now, we are just working on, or will try on, the single model, which is GPT-4o. You must be already aware about it. This is the very latest model which is available there in the market. And as I said, that we have multiple options for the models over here. When it comes to prompt, maybe we'll just provide whatever is coming from the user. So we'll go to the control, and then we'll provide the text area over here. Under the text area, we'll give the value. So this is the place from where the prompt is going to come up. So once whatever user is providing the prompt, that particular prompt will get saved over here in this section. And right, let's come down over here. So this is a place where we need to enable it for the context grounding. And once it is kept as none over here, that means that we are not using context grounding as of now, but we are only using content generation activity over here. But in our upcoming video, we'll be working more on the context grounding, where we'll see that how we can train our own data using the context grounding. Okay, so let's come down over here. Maybe we'll try to see that if we have left anything, but I don't see that any of the mandatory field we have left as of now. Oh, I do see that it should be GPT and I have written GET. So that needs to be corrected. And let us keep on started what we need to keep. So we'll try to keep a spinner over here. We'll keep spinner as true, and maybe we'll give the name over here, that what we want to show when spinner is coming up. We'll say that executing your query. Okay, so this is something that you're going to see whenever you hit on the submit button. And when the submit button gets completed, so at that time, we'll try to set the value over here. So set value will be, so we have created the variable, and so this is the app variable that we have created. So while we were creating the variable at that time, we did discussed that this is the variable that we're going to use to save the response that we are getting from the content generation context grounding. Okay, so we are just using the same thing. So under the content generation context grounding, we'll just go to the control over here. Under the button, we'll see that if we have context grounding option anywhere. Okay, so we'll come in over here, and then we'll go to the button. We'll go to content generation. We'll go to response, and then we'll select raw response over here. All right. So now next is if you see over here that we have selected the raw response. So in this situation, whatever response that we are getting from the content generation activity, we're going to get it in the JSON format, and it will contain everything. Like it is going to contain the creation date, it is going to contain confidence score and multiple different parameters. And we don't need all those data to show up there to the user. So we'll have to do the data, JSON parsing. So for that, you're going to use the another query over here. So the another query is going to be, we'll again be saving it in the same variable, which is generated response. So we'll be selecting generated response over here. And under the value, we'll be selecting, let's go to the expression editor, and then we'll select Newton soft dot JSON dot link you dot JObject dot parse, and then we'll be providing our variable name over here, which is generated response, and then under the bracket we will be giving text. So this is we would basically need text from the JSON file. So that's the reason we are mentioning the key over here, which is text, and then dot toString. All right. So once I save it, so my response will get saved into the generated response. Now, once I get the response and I have done the JSON parsing, so the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to stop my spinner, because spinner will still keep on processing. So let me just hide the spinner over here. So I'll set it as false. So why we are keeping spinner over here, that usually if GenAI activity or content generation activity is processing in the backend, users should get to know that there is something getting processed. Otherwise, they will not understand that how much time they need to wait. So that's the reason we have given spinner over here. All right, I think we are done. So let us try to close it off, and then we'll just try to preview it, and then we'll see that if you're getting any response or not from this one. Okay, let us ask, hello, who are you? Just gonna ask a very generic question, and we'll click on submit. And if you will see over here that it says that, hello, I'm an artificial intelligence assisted created to help you with a variety of tasks and answer your question. How can I assist you today? Let's ask the another question. What is RPA? Let us see that what response it is generating. So we'll see that it is giving us the definition of the RPA. So if you see that till now, using the context grounding, we are able to integrate context grounding with the UiPath app, and we are able to get the response. So in our upcoming video, we'll just try to see that how we can train our own data using the context grounding activity, and we should get the response similar to what we are getting for our generic question. We'll be asking more organization related question with whatever the data that we have trained to our context grounding activity, and we'll see that how it performs. So please stay tuned with our channel, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's meet in a new video. Thank you.